Hey everyone, I'm Linda Moon. I'm the Executive Director of Curriculum here at Stuff You Can Use, and I'm here today to talk to you about our summer discipleship activity and event from Grow Kids Volume 8. These are amazing resources that you definitely don't want to miss out on, and even if you don't use Grow, stay tuned because there are plenty of wonderful ideas here that you could use and steal and make it work for you. So I'm glad you're here. Welcome. So, for the next few minutes, you'll get a big picture overview of what each resource is all about. And then I'll throw in some fun and helpful tips to help you elevate each of these resources to help you make the maximum impact in your ministry. So, check that out. Let's get started. Okay, first we are going to take a look at the What's Next challenge, which is Grow's discipleship activity for the summer quarter. Now, if you know anything about Grow's discipleship strategy, you know that we build our strategy around four spiritual habits. So we have spend time with God, spend time with others, use your gifts, and share your story. And if you are familiar with Grow, then you know that every summer we focus on the spiritual habit of sharing your story. And the rationale really is because it's timely because kids are usually on summer break if especially if you're in the States, and they're going to VBSs, all sorts of camps. I myself have signed my kids up for 3 different camps this summer because apparently that's what you're supposed to do. And so they have a lot of different unique opportunities, different group mix ups where they get to really talk about the things that they've learned and help them articulate their story. So, this is really what this resource is all about, which is just telling them, hey, you've learned a lot of things this year, especially at Sunday school. What's next? And this resource is telling them, hey, let's think about how we can live out our faith. And let's start by sharing our story with others and helping them know what it is that we believe. So let's go over how this works. It's deceptively simple, actually. So, what it is kids will get a handout that they can fill out, and those handouts have been provided for you. And they get to answer different prompts, read some scripture, and really think about their story. Where have they been? Who are they? Who are the people God placed in their lives? And where do they believe God is leading them moving forward? And so kids can work on these handouts in small groups from week to week. You can have it last an entire quarter if you'd like, or you can make it a day-long event where everyone just comes together and does these in stations. Whatever works for your ministry, I believe you can make it work however you'd like. And so what they do is after they fill out all of these handouts, they put it together into a presentation, and then they get to really share all the things that they have been reflecting on with family, friends, and even your church members. You can make it a church-wide event if you'd like. So here's an example of what the handouts look like. You'll see that each handout is paired with some instructions. And yes, they are all puzzle pieces. So essentially, they are filling out different puzzle pieces and then putting them together. So let's take a closer look at one of these handouts. I know that looks like an internal organ of some kind, but it's actually a maze. And the handout instructions say for them to complete it by decorating it with people, moments, memories from their lives that have helped them follow Jesus. So they are reading Acts chapter 9, which is the story of Saul on the road to Damascus. So having this little winding road here, it seems appropriate and fitting. And so as they reflect on how they are following Jesus, how they have been led to follow Jesus, they can think about all the different milestones along the way that have helped them to get to where they are. And there are also some additional prompts for them to think about as they complete these handouts. And once the handouts are all completed, you get to put on the What's Next Challenge gallery, which is essentially a gallery walk. Kids will have their decorated puzzle pieces, completed puzzle pieces on some sort of presentation board, and people can come through and ask questions, hear kids give their presentations about their story, and just really celebrate this path of discovery that they've been on throughout the month or however long this event has been lasting, for them to really share their story and to even ask people, what's your story? And this is a really fun way for kids to practice articulating what it means to be a follower of Jesus. Okay, so now that we know what this discipleship activity is all about, here are a few tips on how you can make the most of it. The first one is the most obvious, which is to pair this activity with the What's Next teaching series from Grow Kids, which is our recommended series for the month of May. Now, this is perfect because the big ideas and Bible stories are actually pulled from the teaching series. So they are great companion pieces to each other. And so you can do it as an extension of your weekly programming if you'd like, or you can just have a separate event altogether, however you'd like to make it work. And it would really help them dive deeper into the stories of the early church that they're learning in the series, What's Next? And really think about, okay, well, what am I doing as a member of the church? How am I growing my faith? How am I advancing the gospel? And these are the questions that they can ask as they think about how they are really sharing and telling and forming their stories. The second tip would be to record video testimonials. Now, maybe some kids don't really want to do a visual medium, and that's okay. Having different outlets available is a really good idea. So maybe some kids just really want to answer some questions on camera. And if that's a lot of your kids, maybe you create a whole segment that you can build around and you can display it or you can play it for your big church. And it would really be a fun way to get your congregation involved and have them really not just for like visibility's sake, but have them be more invested in like what is the next generation up to and how can I play a part in helping them develop their story. So it's a really good outreach tool, not just for new members, but also for the members who have been at your church forever. And lastly, the tip I have for you is to add a story swap day. And that is basically creating a practice environment for kids before the big gallery day, because not all kids are just destined to be orators. And so they might feel a little nervous having to share so much in front of people, even though it's going to be set up kind of like an art gallery or a science fair, however you want to set it up. It's still a lot to share all at once. So having these little moments from week to week where kids can share one little takeaway, one little insight that they had as they were filling out their handout, and just reminding them that their story matters from week to week, it would embolden them and it will help them just have a little bit more courage to share publicly. And it'll be a great way to get them to practice sharing their story, which is what this discipleship activity is all about. In addition to a discipleship activity each quarter that is aligned with one of the 4 spiritual habits, Grow also provides a just for fun event because fun is great. And you can roll these out in your ministry for outreach and fellowship purposes. And especially in the summer when kids want to be active, want to play games, this activity is great for that. So this summer, we are setting off on an action-packed adventure as Grow Kids brings you Ready, Set, Race. And this activity is basically a fast-paced, team-based event, and it is based on the Amazing Race, for those of you who are familiar with that. And so teams will race from room to room or station to station, and they're going to be tackling detour challenges, encountering roadblocks and pit stops, and each stop will be color themed to make it more visible and interesting. And at each stop, they will get 2 different options on what kind of challenge they want to compete. So some of them are timed, some of them is a competition against other teams, whatever they choose. And they just go through all the stations and see how they do at the end of the day. You can make it competitive because Amazing Race is, after all, a race, or you can just have it be, hey, complete all the colored stations and maybe there's a prize if you go to all the stations. You can make it, you know your kids best, so you can make it however you'd like for maximum participation and engagement. If you look at your resource, you'll see that we give you guidelines on what to do with upfront programming because you can't just start an event. You have to welcome people and tell them what they're in for. So there's scripts about that, some ideas for themed giveaways and prizes. And if you like to go all out and you want to decorate your space, we have some ideas on how to do that. And also, if you are going to make it an extended event with food, then we also have suggestions for food as well. So make sure you check out that resource so that you can see all of the different ways that you can level up this event. Now, here is an example of the activity instructions for one of the stops, and there's one of these for every single stop. So it tells you what you need to get and what you need to prep set for each of the challenges. And you'll see that in this one at the red stop, they're either searching for a missing piece as a theme, as a team, excuse me, and they're going to be solving some sort of puzzle to solve some sort of clue, or they're going to do a head-to-head wheelbarrow kind of race, which is they're going to have to verse another team. So whatever the team decides. And so depending on the challenge, they'll be awarded points or time differently, and then it'll tell them how to advance to the next station. And there's also little tidbits for the leader at that station on how to lead the activity and how to set it up and everything that you need for it to be there for this station to run smoothly. And you can find more very valuable tools and tips included in your event guide when you look, because we have things like suggested volunteer roles, a suggested timeline on how you want to schedule the event. There's a lot of good stuff there, so make sure you check it out. But before we go away, I'm going to throw out some additional tips for you so that you can really make this event extra awesome. And the first one is to add live commentary or an MC of some sort, because I think one that'll really give it that reality TV flair, like the Amazing Races, when there's like voiceovers and testimonials. So that'll be really fun. But just to have someone who's goofy and just likes to make jokes and just commentate on what's going on at each station, that would just really give it an extra oomph for the event. And especially if you are in a space like a parking lot or a gym or somewhere where everyone can hear from a single loudspeaker, that would be a really fun way to get kids engaged and hyped. And you could even make this person just go around and be silly and give out extra challenges or prizes just for the fun of it. And having a mascot type of person like that as part of the activity will just make it even more fun. The second tip would be to use live leaderboards, and they can be digital if you are tech savvy. Kudos to you. I personally am not. So you could even have like a map and there's like little flags, like it can be really simple, like push pins that you're moving from station to station. So kids can pass by and see where each team is, what station is every team at. It's just a fun little visual to add to your decor and also to get kids hyped up for, we got to move faster, and really encourage and motivate their teammates. And lastly, I think all of the pit stops that the kids are going to be stopping at are color themed, but it wouldn't hurt to also color coordinate the teams, right? And so you can have each team be a specific color just so that visually, especially if you're taking pictures of the event, it'll be really fun to see all the kids in like different colored t-shirts based on their team's color. You can do like sweatbands or bandanas, or even something small like mini flags or shoelaces, or even like wristbands, whatever you got, just to really bring that team spirit together, because this really is a team activity, and nothing brings a team together like chanting and cheering for your team. So make sure you get in on that. And we did it. That was a quick look at the summer discipleship activity and events from Grow Kids for this upcoming summer, or any summer if you want to bank it for a different time. We just want you to know that we think what you're doing is amazing, and we love what you do with the resources that we provide you, because you take it and you make it work for your church, and you usually do something super creative that we didn't even think about. So please share how you did, how the kids reacted, share photos, tag us in them. You can find us on Instagram at Stuff You Can Use, or you can find us on Facebook if this is not where you're watching this video. Search for Stuff You Can Use, a children's ministry community. Okay, well, I hope you all have an incredible, incredible summer, and I'm wishing you all the best from over here. Bye.